Let's get some analysis of where the campaign is at. I'm joined by leader writer at The Australian, Graham Lloyd. Graham, a shaky start for Anthony Albanese. How does he reset? Is he regrouping, do you think?
Yeah, hi, Kieran. Well, look, there's an old saying that no battle plan survives contact with the enemy. And I think you can say that's the reality that Anthony Albanese and Labor have been living this week. They probably thought the campaign would pan out very, very differently indeed. But that sort of stumble on the first full day on Monday over some key economic figures really undermined the momentum. You could see that the problem really flows in two ways. One is that it sort of saps confidence from the campaign, and the other is it really drew the battle onto ground that the Liberal Party would rather fight, and that's the economic message. That's probably going to continue in the week ahead when it moves to industrial relations. And Labor's been sort of looking for a reset. They tried a few times with health, with offshore processing, and that didn't work. So they would really need to look for a way to get on the front foot. In the past, they probably would have brought in an elder statesman like John Faulkner to sort of put a bit of discipline and steady things along. But it's difficult to see who that person is right at the moment, so the challenge is ahead of them.
We've got this issue for the Liberals in the seat of Warringah. The candidate campaigning for the rights of women and girls in sport. The Prime Minister's had to distance himself from some of the remarks made by that candidate, Catherine Deves. She's also apologised for some of the language used. What do you make of the PM's response?
Well, I think the significant point here is that Scott Morrison came out on the front foot very early in support of Catherine Deves and her views on girls and women in sport. He sort of raised the issue himself as a values issue, and I think feels very confident that he is reflecting a view that's out there in mainstream Australia and is prevalent in a much, much wider sense than simply the seat of Warringah. After the issue was raised by Mr Morrison, some recent comments in social media from the candidate arose, and it sort of turned into a bit of a mess. But significantly, the Prime Minister and the party are sticking with the candidate, saying that certainly the comments were inappropriate, but the bigger issue around women and girls in sport is the one they're interested in, and it's something that they will speak about, I think, fully throughout the electorate.
To the issue of Solomon Islands and China, the US is leaning in more on that, as I spoke to Richard Marles before the advertising break. Is there any hope here that that can help block the deal with China and the Solomons?
Well, look, anything is possible, and I think it's an indication of how fundamentally it would change the strategic outlook for the whole region if China were to establish some sort of military presence in the Solomon Islands. The highest levels of the Biden administration have been directly in contact with the Prime Minister of the Solomons. There'll be a visit there shortly by the US commander in the Pacific region, and obviously they're putting a lot of pressure on the Segavari government not to sign. Whether it's possible to change the mind, it remains to be seen, but they can certainly point to the experience in Sri Lanka and Africa and other places to say, look, this really is not a good idea.
Graham Lloyd, great to chat as always. Thanks.
Thank you.